Hi FlossTube Stitchers. I think this is the 4th or 5th time I've restarted this video through no fault of my own. In the beginning, I was waiting for the fireworks to stop. No, today is not a holiday. I have no idea. It sounded like fireworks to me. It didn't sound like a truck backfiring because it was happening on a regular basis, and it sounded like it was just over the railroad tracks. So maybe in a neighborhood down a nearby street. I don't know what was going on, but it was distracting to me, although you probably couldn't have heard it. So then I started about the 3rd time, and I heard sirens. At first I thought it was police cars, and I thought, I wonder if that's related to the fireworks. I wonder if somebody called and reported them. But then out of the corner of my eye, I saw an ambulance go by, and I'm pretty close to the fire station, so they could have been unrelated incidents, but I might want to listen to the news when I get home tonight, right? Anyway, let's start this over again. What I was going to start off by asking is, are you in the throes of stitching for Thanksgiving right now like I am? Or do you skip right from Halloween to Christmas? I guess if you don't host Thanksgiving, it may not be a thing for you to specifically decorate for it. Maybe you just put out fall earlier in the season and tuck in some Halloween when that time comes around. But since Thanksgiving is my holiday and I'm hosting again this year, although for a very small group, but I am hosting. And so, of course, there were a few more Thanksgiving things that I wanted to stitch. So I was doing some more work on my autumn from the Sunflower Manor chart, not specifically Thanksgiving, but still, it is a current whip. So I'll put that there, and I put it against cardboard so that you wouldn't be able to see through it. So I think I got pretty far since the last time I showed you. I know I had it on social media once, but I didn't have the yellow on it, and I'm not sure I had any green. I think I might have just had the orange color on it, and this is going really well. I'm really enjoying it. I did end up just trimming off as much as I could of the perforations at the top and bottom. I did go just to Hobby Lobby one night to see about buying some washi tape, and you can't buy just one spool. You have to buy either a big set, or you have to buy a set of 3 skinny ones, which they were too skinny to work, or a set of 2. And I saw some really pretty prints, but then as soon as I folded around the edge of the paper, you weren't going to be able to see what the print was anymore. And I just thought, why am I spending money on something I don't need? So it doesn't completely make it smooth, but it does help the thread from catching on the little perforations. So that's good enough for me. I'll save my money for something else. Yes, I went to Hobby Lobby and spent about 15 minutes walking around and left with nothing. But part of it was because I was hungry for dinner, and part of it was because the lines were really long. So that was my motivation to get out of there quickly. All right, so that's coming along, and that probably will be done before Thanksgiving, but I don't know if it'll be fully finished. Then the next thing I worked on was something that I did show on social media, so you may have seen it, but it's Thankful Quaker by Bent Creek. And I can't tell you how long ago I worked on, I think the chart was, what did I say? Maybe it was from 2011 or something like that. I don't know if I started it the very year that it came out, but probably soon after, because I was really into Quakers. And I think at that time we weren't seeing a lot of Quakers, so it was kind of unusual. I did take a picture of it to remind myself why I put it away for so long. And it was because the dye lots of some of the colors were so close together that I was stitching along on the Quaker, and you couldn't even tell where one color ended and the other began. And oh shoot, I folded it so that I can't see it, but there's like 11 or 12 colors in this. And maybe there, I don't know, maybe there could have been less colors and that was part of the problem. Anyway, I worked on it and it might be done. I might be satisfied with it. I should be satisfied with it, right? Let's not be so picky. But one of the things was this row and this row looked identical. So I took out the middle and I added more gold. There are 2 golds in this, and it looks like there's only one here in the picture, which I think there could have been just one, but there are 2. And I just wanted one of the golds just to be more prominent. So that's why I added that color in there. And I kind of like that. Before it just looked like there was too much of the same color going around. Then this one up here also looked like it was stitched almost in the same color, I think. And I decided that I wanted more of the mulberry cranberry color to show. So I took out the one brown and added cranberry, and then it looked too open. It looked like it wasn't finished. So I added a lighter brown in the middle. Now when I look at it, besides the turkey, the first thing I notice is that block. Did I change it too much? I don't know. So, I mean, people gave some really nice comments on Facebook and Instagram, I guess, saying that they thought it looked great. But I know what it looked like beforehand, and now I'm not sure whether I made it too bold up in that corner. So I don't have a frame or anything picked out, and the framer's deadline has already passed. So unless I did an alternative finish or found a ready-made and framed it myself, it wouldn't get done for Thanksgiving. So I guess I'll just marinate on this a little bit longer. I decided not to do the turkey's eye because I don't think it needs it. I don't really have a problem with French knots. I don't know. I just don't think it needs it. I think there are 3 colors of brown in that motif, and it only looks like 2. But I think it's okay because I just think it's okay. Anyway, so that's Thankful Quaker. Still available to order. The other thing I wanted to say is I really liked the pumpkin color, and I almost felt like there wasn't enough of it. And I had thought about taking out one of the gold colors, which creates the border, and doing it in the pumpkin color, but goodness, that's a lot of stitching, and maybe it wasn't necessary. But as soon as I added the buttons, I thought that added a little more spark of pumpkin to it. So I was okay with that. All right, then I moved on to one of my Freebie Februaries from a while back. I'm just going to show you part of the chart. It is a free one, so I don't have any problem showing it to you. I've given the link before, but the other side is pretty much just the same thing. So I'm only going to show you one page. So that's what it looks like. And these motifs down here are 2 shades of purple for the grapes. But I only had pulled one color the night that I stitched it, because when I'm doing Freebie February and starting a new one each day, I mean, sometimes I show an already previously finished one, but on the days that I'm stitching, I don't need more than one color usually because I'm only stitching on it for a couple hours. So it was the General Art Dark Chocolate. So I just kept on working. So I finished the turkey. I had about half the turkey done before. So I finished the turkey and I put the word Thanksgiving in there. Dark chocolate is one of my very favorite browns. It's just the perfect mix of dark and semi-sweet, if you want to look at it that way. It's a really, really beautiful brown. So I'm excited that there's a lot of it in this piece. Although I can't wait to add some color. That's always exciting to add some more color to it. But that was easy, just to stick with the dark chocolate. All right, now I should have left it alone and just worked on those couple pieces, right? I didn't need to start anything new, but the fact that I kind of sort of finished the Thankful Quaker, I thought that was reason enough to start something else. And I was gathering together my Thanksgiving charts for future stitching to show you in this video. And I ran across a couple, and well, for a lot of them, I thought, why haven't I stitched this yet? For crying out loud. Some of them I had 2 copies of the chart at home even. So I decided to start this one. Lizzie Kate, I still have a couple copies, so I don't have any problem showing it. And when I run out of these, I checked, and 1, 2, 3 Stitch does show these as being available. So that's the cute little turkey, and there's a little gold acorn charm that's included. So I just picked a scrap from my basket, which happened to be 36 count vintage country mocha. And the color, although it would have been fun to start with a turkey, I already had Cocoa from Weeks Dye Works out for another project. So I thought I'm just going to do the lettering because it called for Cocoa, and that was just easy. And I did all of that in one sitting. So I think the rest should go pretty quickly. Maybe 2 more nights. So 3 nights total. Or for some of you, if you have a day off and you stitch for longer than that, you might be able to get it done in 2 days. So that should be done before Thanksgiving. But again, I don't know how I'm going to finish it. So my goal is maybe just to get more stitching done and not necessarily be that worried about having more fully finishes for this year. We'll see. Then, yes, I started another one. So I'll just tuck this in here so you can kind of see. This was one of the Pine Mountain pillow kits. And again, I'm like, I've had this for so long. There's no date on the chart anyplace. There's no, and I looked at the instructions and I didn't see a date, but this is old. It's probably 20 years old. And look how quick it would be to stitch. But anyway, so I started that, and of course the thread came with it. And in one sitting, I did the word thankful. I had thought about using an overdyed for this instead of keeping track of where one color started and stopped. But you know, the thread was included in the kit, so why not? Why mess up a good thing? Why overthink it? Because that's what I do. Okay, but I didn't this time. And what else was I going to say about that? Oh, I'm using the loop method. I don't normally do that. I like my threads to lay nicely, and I don't think they always do with the loop method. But because there were color changes within the letters, I just thought that would give me less tails. And, oh, and I like to stitch the Pine Mountain designs on a higher count fabric. I know I've said this before, but because I don't like them to be too close to the edges of the pillow, so I'm doing this on 32 count Antique White Belfast. It had included 14 count Ada with the kit, but I just changed it to 32. And I am using 2 strands because there's not a lot of, you know, solid stitching that would make it look lumpy. So I like the way it looks. It's bold, like the colors in the pillow, so I'm okay with 2 strands. So that's actually been kind of fun. All right, so that's that. That was my stitching this week. Now, for my vintage stitching, it's not really that vintage. 2010, 2011. So it's not, you know, it's not truly vintage, but I look back through my notes and I don't know when I started doing my vintage stitches, but I may not have always kept track of what I showed. But I think I would have mentioned someplace that I had shown you these because these are my designs. And a while back, I decided I wanted to do some free charts specifically for my customers. This was, of course, before the internet and before FlossTube and probably before, I don't know, 2010? I guess we had, I don't know, maybe there just weren't as many free charts on the internet, or not every designer had a website, but the ways for us to get free charts were usually through trunk shows or our automatic programs from designers or at trade shows. And I just had this idea that I wanted to do some free charts and really kit them up and make them available, to my local walk-in customers. Now, part of my issue is I no longer have that program, or I can no longer access. I was using PC Stitch Pro on a previous computer, and it just blew up one day. I don't know what the correct terminology is, but my computer fried. We had to get a new one. My brother's family was using Apple products, and so we decided to get an Apple. And I just never thought about the fact that not everything would transfer correctly. So I do have a lot of these. I have the original copy printed that I can redo. It just has the wrong address on it because we've moved since then. But I can't access any of the other ones I designed, and I probably had 4 dozen designs on there. So I need to look into this more. At the time, my computer guy knew nothing about Apple, and he was very negative against it and poo-pooed it, and he made it seem like we had made the wrong choice. So just because you don't understand something or don't work with it doesn't mean it's not a good product. So I was a little annoyed by that, but he fixed everything else we needed, so I kind of just went with it. And over time, I've asked advice in various places, stitch groups, trade shows, friends, whatever. And most people say, oh, why don't you just get the design program for Apple? Well, that's not my problem. My problem is trying to access the ones that I already have. So he transferred, this is going on way too long, sorry. I didn't mean to talk this long. Please pay attention to the models behind me if you're bored with this. But at the time, I thought that I would be able to eventually open them. So he moved all the files over, and that's what I'm looking for now, to see if there's new technology, some other kind of program maybe I could add that would be able to open that. Okay, sorry, long story, too long. So I can't remember which came first. This might have come first, but this was my monthly series, and they all have happy in it. And they don't necessarily say the month. So this was Happy Turkey Day, which is obviously November. And I always chose a fabric. I think all of these were 28 count because I wanted it to be accessible for everybody. And more people stitched on 28 count then. So I made sure that the color I used was available in 28 linen, even weave, linen/even weave, either or, and Aida. There was always an Aida choice. And I used, I think, all 3 of the, major hand-dyed cotton companies because I sell all of them, so why wouldn't my charts advertise them all? And then I used at least 3 different button companies. So this is Mill Hill, and I think this is a 5-inch frame. Then I had a series called Words of, and I think I was ahead of the game because there have been other things like this since then. And now a lot of it is called subway art, or there are some things that look like crossword puzzles, and this is kind of a combination of the two, so kind of interesting. I wouldn't want anyone to think that I was copying the current trend, but my charts have the date on them. So anyway, this was Words of Autumn, and this is an acorn button, a metal button from Homespun Elegance, and she had them made for her. Metal, or yeah, brass. And so it has all the words, and then it also kind of has a crossword thing where the same letter does two different words. So I kind of incorporated that when I could. Anyway, I've really enjoyed these. I don't always remember to put them up. Since I don't have them up in the shop right now, sometimes I forget where they are. But I was determined to find them this year and make sure that I put them on display. And then that's going to gear me up to thinking about really figuring this computer thing out. Okay, then this was Words of Thanksgiving. And this happens to be just another button company, Fimo clay button. So yeah, three different button companies. And I had to have some purple in there and had to have some blue in there to kind of pick up the pie plate. But I really enjoyed designing these. So I'm gonna make sure I show you more of these in the coming months, and I'll go back and do a bigger dive to make sure that I haven't. Well, you know what? Even if I have new people that start following me all the time. So if you've already seen it, I can just apologize now. Anyway, okay, so that was my vintage stitching. Okay, then a new shop model is from this book, Turkey Tavern, from Thread Milk Design. So those are the 4 designs on there. And I did that one. And although I was really taken with the brown and blue, I was very, very tempted to maybe do all of them to have some blue. And I thought that would really look good together. But in my stash, I had a scrap of this 32 copper metallic. And it was the perfect size. So I thought, okay, I'm just going to do it all in one color on this. And then my framer, I think, picked out this frame. It's going to be a little tricky to dust because it really is bumpy and ridged, and I don't want to like flake any of it off. But anyway, I think it's really cool. So it's kind of a nice compromise between dressy and woodsy, I guess. Anyway, I really like it. So let's see, what was the question I was going to have you? If you would like this chart, it's a $15 value because there are 4 designs in there. If you would like this chart, tell me, let's see, maybe you don't stitch for Thanksgiving. Well, I'll ask anyway. Tell me your favorite thing that you've stitched for Thanksgiving, or maybe something that you've seen on social media, a Thanksgiving design that you like. I don't care. Or a fall, whatever you want to tell me is fine. I'll enter you in that drawing. Okay, then I wanted to show you some of the designs that I'm thinking about stitching in the future. I'm not going to take them out of the plastic. So, Thankful Hearts from Abby Rose. I love that there's blue there, and there's blue in a couple of these pieces, and I think before I would start any of them, I would decide on the blues, the teals. So it's a good thing to keep all these Thanksgiving charts together so that I can coordinate that. And then I don't know if, I don't necessarily need to do both of these, but I do like both of them. Maybe one could be a dough bowl filler and one could be framed, Calico Confectionery. And then I've had my eye on this ever since it came out, but I don't think I like the black and white wings. I need to work on that. I don't think I care for that. So what I would probably do is just stitch everything else and then see what I think about changing those colors. Then I can't decide. This is the silk gauze version. And I think I already started a Thanksgiving one on silk gauze a number of years ago. So maybe I don't need 2 Thanksgiving ones on gauze. So she brought it back out as a classic without the gauze. And so I think I would do that. And I didn't look at the, Yeah, there is a blue in here. So I think the word thankful is in blue, and so I would just coordinate that with the other ones. All right, you already saw this one, the Doodles Thanksgiving. All right, Heinz It Shadow Turkey. And it looks very gray in the picture, but they really are pretty browns that it's done in. So I keep letting the picture distract me from how cute it could be, because the colors that she calls for are brighter than that. Then there's 3 from Homespun Elegance, but I can't find the other one right now. Anyway, Thankful for Thanksgiving. And then this one's been around for a while, Turkey Love. Then I've had this for a while. The chart is from 2005, and looks like I had just pulled, 2 of the colors. And this is the fabric that I chose. It's 32 count Floba. And what I thought was interesting is that it's stamped on one side like the vintage, and I swear I have other pieces of Floba that are not stamped. So I could never figure out whether that was a fluke or whether I just never noticed before. So anyway, I've had that for so long, and the chart's still available, so it totally should be a new shop model next year. Okay, then let's see, I'm gonna skip those. Thanksgiving Petites from Little House, and I just can't decide if I want them all on one piece of fabric or if I want to do them individually like that. I kind of have that problem with all of her petites because there's so many ways you can finish them, and I don't know how to do it. All right, this is Lizzie Kate Thank, and I feel like it has to have an S. I don't know why. One of the reasons why I haven't stitched this yet, because I still have charts. I don't know if it needs to have an S on it. Isn't that silly? All right, and then Thankful String. And then for this one, have you seen people in the Lizzie Kate fan group that take like a quarter of it maybe, or a third of it, and they do it, as a square or as a rectangle instead of a really long string? Oh my gosh, it looks so good. I just saw the doggy string the other day, and it reminded me that people have done it in squares. So I need to think about that. I do have some places that I could use a long skinny one though, but I'll have to decide on that. And then this is a really old one from her, Thankful sampler. And when Linda was retiring, I made sure in part of my shop order that I had all of the samplers for all of the seasons and all of the holidays, because I just like that style. Okay, and then the Fruits of Our Labor from Pineberry Lane. And I've loved this since day one too. Maybe I would brighten up the colors a little bit. I don't know if I have a problem with the rifle and the turkey. I don't know. I can't decide. I can't decide if that's an issue or not, but I do think those are really cute. And then Goodness and Thanks from Plum Street Samplers. I just really love that. I love the border. And I just saw it, somebody posted, I think, on Instagram the other day, and it reminded me that I had this in my stash. And then Turkey Bay, I've also seen several times, and I think that's really pretty. And of course, it's got the teal water in there, so it would go with all the other pieces. And then this is Turkey Love. And then from Shepherd's Bush, recently I saw somebody do this little gobble, and it reminded me of that. I think this is really pretty, but it's not showing up very well in the chart, so I would probably change the colors. But I think I would probably do all 3 of these and then use the button pack from Just Another Button Company. And then there are a few from Brenda Gervais that I want to do Thanksgiving-wise. This is, I think, the only one that I actually took home that I could find. Alrighty, and then the giveaway from last week was Joyous All Together by Heartstring Samplery, along with the skein of Aztec Red that the cover model was stitched in. And the random number generator chose Kathleen Ross, and she said, "What brings me joy every day are my dogs and my stitching." Yes, I would have to say the same thing. I agree with you. Okay, I will see you back here next week with probably new charts, more progress on my Thanksgiving stitching, and maybe I'll do a little model review. Not sure if I'm gonna, I might save that for my Thanksgiving video though. So anyway, we'll see. I'll think of something to talk about. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.